I swear, I can already feel a change. Good. Oakfather's blessings.
Shouldn't have wished to live in more interesting times.
I would not linger in this land over long. But, whatever... As you wish. Whatever it takes.
All's well that ends... well, not as bad as it could have.
Shadowheart. One couldn't do as you like. The loss is not so much mine as... Of course you have. It is done.
Good. I was just starting to... All right.
Then again, these towers are much like the Absolute. Flash. No substance.
Troops ready?
We leave the heart of the Absolute alive. Thanks to you. You did well to defeat Ketheric. But Ketheric was only the first to fall. There are many more battles ahead, and they will not be so easily won. You will need allies. Jaheira's wisdom will be an asset to you on the journey ahead. Halsin's strength and loyalty. But if we are to succeed, we will need others. Good. I'm glad to hear that. Baldur's Gate may not know it yet, but its fate is bound to ours. Seek on its streets those whose purpose aligns with our own, and invite them to our cause. Together, we will put an end to the Absolute, the Chosen, all.
The road to Baldur's Gate is west of the town. If we hurry, we'll arrive before the Absolute's forces. The road to Baldur's Gate is up ahead. No turning back once we start down that road.
The psionic detector is sounding. Vlaakith's warriors are upon us.
Well, Wargaz failed to kill you. I won't make the same mistake. No hesitation.
Fuck yes. Want another? Swift and lethal. Invenia via.
Shall we dance? This will do nicely.
This is my time.
Never a dull moment.
War is an old woman's game.
Enemies afoot.
Need to stay focused.
The lance board is set.
Garneth alerted us to the hunters. It is as we knew. My people have turned their blades against us. They will emerge from the shadows and descend from the skies, and we will grant them their only just fate. Death.
Whatever awaits us on the road ahead, we can at least be proud that the Shadow Curse is no more.
Looks like an army marched through here.
The curse has been lifted. The land's cleansed of the shadows. Kethric's reign of living death is over. Your courage has been tested, and in this at least, you have triumphed.
Sergeant, if you are here, I presume Wern's Rock is secure, and preparations for my inauguration are complete.
No, Lord Gortash. We were interrupted. Another quake in the lower city. More severe this time.
So you came cowering to my chambers? I'm flattered, Sergeant. But even I cannot command natural phenomena to cease.
Forgive me, my lord, but there is panic in the streets. The people are afraid.
Perhaps the people would be calm if you kept your nerve. I expect better from the Flaming Fist than to run scared from a slight tremor in the earth. Get back to your duties.
Duties, duties, duties. Patrolling and saluting and following and bowing and scraping. Yes, sir. No, sir. Rip and cut your throat, sir.
Your plan is falling apart, lordling. Give me a reason not to cut you to ribbons.
Control yourself, Orin. We need to focus on reuniting the stones or the brain will break free. These quakes are just the start. Neither of us expected the prison bearers to kill Ketheric. They'll be traveling to the city. Let's make sure we give them a Baldurian welcome.
I itch to peel you, to split your skin, to see your skull shine in the light. Little tyrant. Lucky for you, I harvested a whole family of living flesh in Rivington at high sun. They will sate my blade thirst tonight. Oh, but tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, and tomorrow, My blades will thirst again.
Beyond the campsite, the city waits in uneasy silence, one sleep away.
Still breathing, despite everything.
Painful truths have been thrust upon Shadowheart. I believe she is strong enough to endure.
Shadowheart has found a little bit of herself again. Selûne cannot take all of the credit. She may have lit the way, but it is the cleric who took this step. That speaks well of your taste. I've heard my share of bad ballads about things I never did. If you have questions, ask. Just don't expect my answers to rhyme. It was Baal alone we faced in our time. And, bad as that was, he had no elder brain for a lapdog then. Help won't come from the history books, or from any old tales I can spin you. This is your story to write. There. Have I fulfilled my role as your wise and wizened elder? Don't tell me which. Against all life experience, I will choose to assume the best. Ask it. More than I would like. In my youth, I was a brief and very much unwilling member of a colony's hive mind. I felt the way they think, saw the world as they do. Foul, unnatural creatures who find the foulness in us and twist it to their will. But then, who am I speaking to? You have far more experience than I. Then, greetings, Sir Tadpole. I was wondering where all the questions suddenly sprang from.
The gate is closed, as is Cazador. Cazador and his rite of profane ascension. An imperial soiree, attended by devils and spawn alike. A grand ceremony to honor one exalted vampiric master. And elevate him to an unfathomable station. To place him in a position of such esteem. the world will yearn to kneel and offer their necks. Of course I envy him. Why wouldn't I? The problem with what Cazador has done is that he did it to me. If the time comes and I can stay one move ahead of him, I'll take his place before his blood can hit the floor. What's a handful of the wretch's servants? If they're anything like me when I was enslaved, they're all but begging for death anyway. After 200 years of shit, pure shit! I think I deserve something better. All I'm saying is, let's be clever about it. If an opportunity arises for me to become a more magnificent bastard than I already am, why turn it down? Let's find out more about the ritual before we waltz into Cazador's front door. If we track down my old comrades, the other spawn, we may discover more and be finally positioned for yours truly to ascend. My, you sweetheart. If we don't find my brethren, we should get to them first, unless Cazador has changed the...
Anything I can do for you, consider it most enthusiastically done. There's nothing that would give me greater pleasure. You must know, our relationship is the brightest spot in our otherwise bleak endeavor. To know you love me for the man I am and not the magic I command. None have loved me so purely before. You are everything to me. And yet our relationship is only a nascent fraction of what it will become. You give me hope. And I've not had that in some time. No matter. After all, a bond like ours...
It does not surprise me that Shadowheart's faith was based on a lie. Deception is the sum of Shah's design. I take no pleasure in his passing. Whatever faults he may have had, Ketheric was a great leader. Of course. He ruled Moonrise for centuries. That in itself deserves respect. I believe he was an honorable man, but the gods used him as their plaything. First, Shah and her sister, then the three behind the Absolute. I sympathize. It is a sharp mind that feels sympathy for one who suffers unnecessarily, not a soft heart. I saw strength in Ketheric that had been diluted by pain, but I will never forgive him for handing me to Orin. For that, I hope Merkel hollows out his bones and lets them be dust. A true soul came to my city preaching a message of togetherness. Menzoberranzan is not fertile ground for such messages. I killed them and hanged their bodies in my garden. I would have picked prettier corpses if my intentions had been aesthetic. This was a warning against heresy. I was not content with the warning, though. I intended to wage war on their insolent god and the rest of its followers. Even as the flesh sagged and sloughed away from their eyeless skulls, their audacity infuriated me. And whoever sent them was counting on my curiosity overcoming my caution. Yes. All it took was a simple act of necromancy, and the corpses told me where I needed to strike. Moonrise Towers. It is never safe to point out my shortcomings, but in this instance, you are correct. Moonrise is the site of my greatest failure. As it turned out, to my shame, I was defeated without even drawing my weapon. I came to Moonrise with a retinue of warriors and assassins, the best House Bainray had to offer. I expected a battle, but found a fully laden feast table and a welcome befitting a house matron. Ketherick expected us, expected me, and I fell for his flattery. Perhaps I deserved what came after the welcome as well. Ketherick proposed an alliance between Moonrise and Menzoberranzan. I admit I was captivated by him. He invited me to the head of his table as his guest of honor. I was wary, of course. If I had been in his position, the food would have been poisoned. It was not the food I should have been wary of. It was the pale woman at the foot of the table. Orin the Red. We had barely begun to eat when she spoke for the first time. I only caught one word, my name. Then, quick as lightning, she climbed onto the table, a dagger in each hand, and skipped toward me, slicing the throats out of my men as she passed them. If it had been an option, I would have. Ketherick held me still, his hand on my shoulder, the grip tight enough to crack the bone. When Orin stood before me, she touched the dagger to my eye, drawing out a tear of blood. "I want this one," she said. Ketherick nodded his permission, and I was taken below. You've seen the horrors of the colony. Orin kept me there for days. She forced me to watch as my men were processed. Some for food, others as thralls. And then she placed the tadpole in my eye, herself. I deserved it. I was passive, weak, proud. You know the rest as well as I do. There were massacres before the Grove. Religious communities, mostly. Those who refused to convert. Then there was you, and now there is freedom. Soon there will be vengeance.
The events of the last days weigh heavily upon you. Sleep's rest is slow to come to one whose mind is so full. The Absolute is not a god, but an elder brain controlled by the Chosen of the Dead Three. They mean to use it to take control of the Sword Coast. All who carry the tadpole are governed by the brain, and by extension the Chosen. It will take but one order to transform them into an army of mind flayers. This would have been your fate too, were it not for the astral prison and the mysterious visitor inside of it. With her help, you have uncovered the cult for what it really is. A plan of conquest orchestrated by the gods of death themselves. Together, you have the power to thwart the Dead Three. If you follow this path to its end, the Elder Brain will not answer to the Chosen. It will answer to you. Will you liberate them from their parasites and their religious delusions? Or will you use the power you gain for your own purposes? You will not have long to wait. All you need to do now is sleep. But sleep is not for you.
Hear me. Gather. The reckoning is upon us. The city thirsts for domination. March. Join.
You're under attack. Fight your way to the portal. I need your help.
There's blood in the air. Yes.
Not but another harvest. Forward.
Time to strike. Curious.
Where's our dream guardian?
I'm here. Help me. I'm under attack. It's not over. Come to the skull.
Hurry! I can't hold them back alone.
It's not over. Come to the skull.
Before you do anything, I am your ally. We are in danger. The Githyanki is the source of our protection against the Absolute. I must subdue him, or everything we've worked towards is lost. Don't let my form deceive you. I am the one that's been protecting you. I am the one that came to you in your dreams. Help me. The Honor Guard. Eliminate them. Destroy the Guard. Together, we can turn the tide.
Very well.
Thank you. That was too close. Don't look at me like that. I am a mind flayer. Yes. Without me, you would be a slave to the Absolute.
It's obscene. To owe my life to a damned geich. No more lies, no more tricks. I will have answers!
You may call me the Emperor. An adventurer, I came from Baldur's Gate, though I was never one to be constrained by circumstance. I longed for more. That longing brought me to Moonrise Towers on a search for treasure. To a colony of mind flayers who caught me, changed me into what I am now. For years, I served the Elder Brain, the one you know as the Absolute. I was a thrall like any other, but I was fortunate. I broke free and started a new life in my own city. I sustained myself on criminals. Unglamorous, but there are plenty of them. Rarely missed. And they fueled me while I did my work. I had the good fortune to meet Duke Stelmane. We formed a partnership, and through her, I became the governing force behind the Knights of the Shield, the largest mercantile operation in Baldur's Gate. People referred to me as the Emperor. Such was my influence, though of course they had no idea what I really was. My needs were sated. I was happy for a while, until my true nature was discovered by the tyrant himself, Lord Gortash. He tore me from my home and brought me back to the Brain, where I became a slave once again. A slave he continued to call the Emperor. The name was intended as a slight, to remind me of the heights from which I fell. But I have grown fond of it. It encapsulates well who I've become. We fought to tame Prince Orpheus, the son of Gith herself.
Orpheus? Impossible. He was slain by Justil Kithrak himself.
Quite possible, I assure you. His power has been the source of your continued protection against the voice of the Absolute. The power to disrupt hive-mind communication. It is the same power that enabled Orpheus, his mother, to bring about the fall of the Elithid Empire eons ago. A power she passed on to him, and that I leveraged for you. When Orpheus's mother left, a usurper took her place. Blackith declared herself queen of the Githyanki. Blackith wanted his power, but Orpheus rose against her, and so she sealed him and his honor guard within this prison. Bound by infernal chains, Orpheus could never leave. Bound by duty, his guard never would. They were close to breaking my honor at Prince. And if they had succeeded, we would be lost. I am relieved. You have embraced your potential enough that you could help me eliminate them. Alone, Orpheus will be much easier to control. A very good question. One that I have been unable to answer. That Orpheus lives at all is ruinous to Blackith. She has done everything in her power to keep his existence a secret. That Gortash and the Chosen found out about it. This is impossible to explain. But it was important enough to them that Gortash sent me to retrieve it. The moment I found it, I felt a change. My free will returning. I followed the feeling inside, and found Orpheus. I realized what the prison was for. Containment. While my body was within the prison's bounds, my mind was free. I could resist the Elder Brain, the Chosen. Better yet, I could plan to overthrow them. All I needed to do was subdue Orpheus, and find allies in the outer world. You. That would be a terrible idea. The moment he is free, he will attack you. Your only defense will be to kill him, and in so doing, he would doom us both.
Even though he is subdued, you feel Orpheus's revulsion, a pulsing hatred that cannot be contained. The Emperor is telling the truth. To him, you are just another wretched illithid.
You carry a tadpole. As far as Orpheus is concerned, you are already a illithid, a sworn enemy, just like me. I appreciate that, but this is what I am. My original body was destroyed when I transformed. When I first escaped the Elder Brain, I searched for a new vessel. But the longer I inhabited this one, the more it grew on me. I realized that returning to my former self would only impose limitations. Any advantage I could gain by restoring my original appearance, I already had to hand in the form of magic, and that humanoid shape you've come to know. As an illithid, I have far surpassed who I ever was before. You, too, should embrace this change. I believe we'll have a better chance of defeating the Elder Brain if you embrace your latent illithid potential. I've been studying you for a while now. I believe I can trigger the next stage of your tadpole's life cycle, while continuing to preserve your independence. You have seen what I can do. Imagine yourself with the same strength, the same intelligence, the same devastating beauty. If you let me, I can evolve you. The answer is twofold. One, I can, but it would kill you, as I told you before. Two, why would I? You have done well with the limited form you have, but you would do far better as an illithid. So, do you wish to evolve or not? You will be able to do things you never thought were possible. There will be physical alterations, of course, but only partial. You will retain most of your current form, and you will soon see that the benefits outweigh any perceived loss.
Skra! Whatever this gig offers is no gift to you.
You continue to surprise me. Your mind is truly something special. Now, hold out your hand. It wants to evolve, but it cannot do so alone. It must commune with another.
A coldness seeps through your veins as the tadpole awakens, its yearning almost unbearable. Your mind is a veritable feast. The tadpole's essence courses through you. Where it touches, your flesh, glands, organs contract and flood with pure thought. You feel different. Your body has never felt more connected. Your mind present in every flex of a joint or muscle.
You are exquisite. When your allies see what you can do, but we mustn't lose focus. You heard the Chosen. We must not.
Maybe another
The orb hums with cerebral magic, permeable, impenetrable. Within it, the Githyanki prince is as silent as a corpse, but for the murmur of his powers being siphoned away.
Orpheus. It is not the... It is Orpheus. Listen close. Long ago, when we rose, Tiamat, the first Vlaakith of many. Yes. Our current queen has... But it was the first whom Orpheus tried to slay. Orpheus was... It was Kith... Yet the... Should Orpheus go free? We meet Voss in the city. Every word Voss spoke, he spoke true. Orpheus is the one word. If the Githyanki are to be free... What about him?
So, there's been a... The more I do not say, but I digress. Did you want something? More likely it would just put a stop to us. I wanted nothing to do with those Illithid powers before. Do you know what this entails? Well, of course you do. But I don't want that for myself. Of course.
What's on your mind? You saw the extent of Flo's If she'd been completely nothing worth reading. Cambion manipulation at its most and a devil will never not break your heart.
Be honest. What do you think of the new look? An unexpected benefit of my training. Any novice knows how. Typically reserved for disguises and. Well, I'm glad someone does. Perhaps I'll get used to it. I have a lot to get used to right.
Shadowheart looks different. A change of diet. We will need every advantage to survive the... If this superior tadpole is... Its influence on you is plain to see. I will be unstoppable. You wish to consult me? Good.
There's no more radiant sight than shadowed in name, but no longer in spirit. It suits her. I can only imagine what I could do were I to adopt the biology of a mind flayer. Certainly doesn't seem to have done you any harm. Or rather, you've not yet done me any harm. Still, there are undoubtedly if this is what... Anything I can do for you, consider it with...
Our enemies are everywhere.
No one back home will ever believe this.
This vessel, this soul...
No hesitation.
Why, hello, lover. All right.
Inconceivable that we would secretly... I chide you if my mind were not consumed by this, but make no... You have invited your own misery. I will not... It is done.
When I first met you, saving... I trust your leadership and respect your decisions. But I truly hope then you'll have...
Shadowheart walks a little freer of the shadows. As you wish.
I wonder what the next move is.
Speak, Oathbreaker. No one stopped me yet.
must find where Gortash and Orin have established themselves, and take their nether stone.